Hello everybody, my name is Edward and I'm doing a video on how to care for dubia roach feeders. Things that we're going to cover in this is going to be feeding, hydration, housing, ventilation, and heat. We're going to start off with feeding. We do use some dry foods. We do buy it, but we don't depend on the dry food. We mostly want our animals to eat the fruits and vegetables that we feed them, and we do feed a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. Apples, pears, any kind of plums, grapes, strawberries, bananas. For the vegetables, what are we cutting up for the vegetables?
Spinach, mustard greens, collard greens, your typical greens, beet greens, stuff like that.
Okay, so what we try to keep in
Arugula.
mind. Okay, what we try to keep in mind when we're feeding the roaches is that the roaches are eating everything that we want our bearded dragon to eat. So anything that's on the list for bearded dragons or whatever kind of pet you have, those are the kind of fruits and vegetables you want to mainly feed your dubia roaches. Here's an example of how we cut the vegetables up. And since hydration is next, we'll just jump right into that. The way that we hydrate the dubia roaches is we mist the food, and then we mix it up a little bit, and then we give it right to the roaches just like this. This is all fresh fruits and vegetables. We do not feed them anything that's old. Sometimes we do give them scraps from dinner and stuff like that, but this is actually what we cut up for the bearded dragon. So when you think about your feeders, think about your pets, and your dubia roaches should be eating just as good as your pets, because that is what your pets are going to be eating.
This is our pet, Bubbles.
And she got her name from bath time.
Yeah, she likes to fart in the water, make
Nice.
bubbles.
Nice. Okay, so some of the things that you're probably going to need. These are helpful if you're skittish and you don't like touching the dubia roaches or other insects. That way you don't have to touch them and you can manage them. A spray bottle is helpful for spraying off spraying the food for hydration for your dubia roaches. And then we have an assortment of containers up here, and we're going to get into that right now. We have 3 sizes of containers. For a container this size, I would say anywhere from 50 to 100 dubia roaches can exist in there without being crowded. For this container, I would say anywhere from 2 to possibly 300 dubia roaches can fit in here. And in this container, anywhere from 300 to 500 dubia roaches, and possibly even more. For the way that you want to set your dubia roaches up, okay, you have your container. You want egg crates. These can be purchased on Amazon and a lot of other places, but when you have your egg crates, you may want to keep them small like this. Number one, because that's how big this habitat is, but it also makes it much easier to get the dubia roaches out and feed them to your pets, and especially if you don't want to use the tools. So you would put the egg crates in there, and then you would get a lid like this. If you're feeding extra small dubia roaches, then you'll want to cut this lip off, because this lip will keep them from being able to climb into the water or into the food source, excuse me. And for a habitat that's this small, if you cut it in half, that would be plenty of room for you to put inside. They would be able to climb up onto the food and eat it with no problem at all. For this size container, we would add about the same size egg flats with a piece of cardboard in between them. And the reason for the cardboard is that it adds a little bit of extra space for them to climb on. They can climb in, or they can climb on the cardboard. And there again, you can put either a whole lid or cut the lid in half. But then you would just put your vegetables that you hydrated or that you sprayed with your spray bottle. You would just put the vegetables and fruit bits in right on the lid. And it's probably a very good idea to keep the area clean because, and on the dish, because you don't want the food to mold. You don't want your animals eating moldy dubia roaches or, sick dubia roaches either. Okay, this is my wife's container, and we can house quite a few in here, probably 500, maybe even 1,000 medium-sized dubia roaches. And here you see that she has these containers. She does not like to touch the roaches. She does. She touches them. It's a little scary sometimes, but she does touch them. And you'll see here in just a second how much easier it would be to deal with these smaller pieces versus these larger pieces. Okay, this is where these dubias are hiding. So you see that all the dubias are in the little spaces. They get in there and they stay. And then once the lights go out, they like to get out, climb around, and collect their food. So we'll just pop this right back in there. And you see that they have their food that's been sprayed with water right there. But if you took this out, you would not be able to tap this into your pet's aquarium. Whereas something like this, if there was 5 or 6 dubias on it, which there is, you would be able to, and I'll show you how easy it is. You would just be able to open up the container and just tap the dubias right out into the aquarium or terrarium. The next thing on the list is going to be ventilation. Ventilation is going to be very important. If they can't breathe, if the moisture can't leave the container, then it's absolutely going to mold. And we don't suggest heating the enclosures for the dubia roaches, and that's one of the reasons why, because the moisture evaporates and then it ends up on the walls, dripping off of the top of the hood and everything like that. But if the dubias can't breathe and the humidity cannot leave the tank, then your cardboard could get mold on it, your food could get mold on it, and then your dubias would be eating moldy food, living in moldy conditions, possibly ending up with mold on them, and then you feed them to your reptiles or insects, amphibians, and then they would become sick because of it. Is there anything else that you think I might have missed, Chrissy?
That sounds about it. Make sure they're hydrated and fed every day.
Make sure you treat them as well as you treat your pets.
Yes, definitely. Because anything and everything that you feed them, your lizard is going to be eaten as well. So you got to make sure that they have a healthy diet and good hydration. Because lizards don't drink out of bowls, so they get their hydration from their bugs and their vegetables.
Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful, and hopefully you'll like and subscribe. This video is being done for dubia roaches for sale online. It's a website that I'm building. I do have colonies of roaches, and very soon I'll open the website up for business. So we hope to see you there. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.